Hey guys, it's Maymay with a special shout out to my friends Jade and Xavier. Hi guys. Okay, let's get started on our wreath project. I have got a bunch of stuff in my stash and I want an Easter wreath for my front door. I made my little bunny, and if you didn't see the bunny, I'll link that here, but I want something for my front door. The little bunny is on my side door of my house, so this is going to be on the front door, and we're going to use some fun stuff that I have in my stash. Let's check it out. First off, I have this wreath form here, and this is a Christmas wreath form that I got for probably, I don't know, $1 or $2 at Hobby Lobby at the end of the season, and it's a 16-inch wreath. Now, I'm filming this on my workstation, so we're probably going to have to work in sections and turn it around, and I'll do my best to make it very easy to understand since it's kind of large and takes up the whole space. I'm also going to use some paper mesh. I've been wanting to use this paper mesh for a long time. I bought 3 rolls of this from Walmart way back when, probably last year sometime, and have not used it. But I just feel like this looks Eastery and kind of burlappy, and you can see the texture of that. It's just a paper mesh. We're also going to use some different kinds of this small geo mesh. I have this orange or Deco mesh. Let me see if it has a name. This just says mesh ribbon. I have orange, I have green, and I have yellow. We'll be using those guys to put a little Easter color into it. And these are, let's see, this one is 6 inches by 10 yards. Okay, so both of these are the same, 6 by 10. And then this guy's a little smaller. He is 5.5 inches by 30 feet. So there's a lot more on here. No, there's not. There's less on here. Wake up. Okay, so there's less and it's shorter. But that gets me the 3 colors I want. So we'll come back to these in a few minutes. Those are really just going to be like ribbon for us. That's kind of how we're going to treat those in the design. Alright, we're going to start with this guy. First thing we're going to do is cut away this tag. Now, you may notice that this is a sparkly green wreath, and you're thinking, but you're making a burlap wreath, and what are you going to do? I'm going to tuck these guys in, and we're not going to see them. I'm not going to stress about that. That's the good thing about Deco mesh and stuff. It's so fluffy, you typically can't see what you're using in your work wreath. Now, the first thing I'm going to do, or the second thing, already did the first thing, is open up all of these little twine, or what are they called? Tines? I'm not sure, but we're going to open up all these little twists. That's what we'll call them. We're going to open the twists. And I like to go ahead and do this and just get this out of the way and have them waiting on me instead of me having to adjust them as I get going. So I just open them all up. Some of them are twisted in pretty good too. And by the way, this wreath, not that it matters, but this wreath is one of the ones that's kind of raised. Can you see it has this bar and it's dimensional? Doesn't matter. You don't have to have that kind. That's just the kind this one is. And if you're like me, at the end of the season, I grab these up, especially the green. I feel like, you know, green is a color that's in nature, so you can get away with green a good bit, and especially when they're not glittery green. So at the end of the season, even though they say Christmas on the tag, I'm not going to put Christmas stuff on it. I may take it apart and use it for Christmas later, because I've been known to take a wreath apart. Okay, so I've got those all opened up, and I can move that out of the way. And now I'm going to start working with this paper mesh. And I'm going to be honest, I haven't used this paper mesh before, but I like the way it feels. It has a very good weave, and it feels kind of snug, kind of tight. I mean, I know I could unravel it, but it has a good tight weave, even tighter than I think burlap is. Now, I will be putting this outside, but I'm putting it in a covered porch, so it will not be in the elements. However, I wouldn't suggest you put this in the rain. It is paper. It feels a lot like a little tiny raffia, and I would be afraid to put that in the rain. So make sure you're using this inside or in a covered area. Now we're going to cut it down to size. And I'm going to do something I haven't done before. It's paper mesh, so I'm going to use my paper trimmer. Why not? It's not like I'm running it through wire or anything. I think this will work. I'm just going to open this up, and I'm going to flip this guy over. And on my work surface, I have like a little shelf over here. You can't really see, but it'll stop right there. And I'm going to run this guy underneath my blade. Let's get him under there. Now, I want to make squares out of him. And he is 10 inches long, so I want to make 10-inch squares. So that'll be pretty easy. We're just going to roll him out to the 10-inch mark. And I'm going to shut this down and rotary cut it. And check it out. Look how fast that will go. Now, I have several rolls of this, but I'm going to cut this entire roll and start with one and see how far we get. And then I'll tell you how many it's going to take. But if you're like me, I always have extra. I always try to get, if I think I need 1 roll for a project, I go ahead and buy 2 rolls, just because I'd rather have leftovers than be 3/4 of the way through the project and then don't have enough to finish. That would be the worst for me. All right, I'm just going to cut this guy up and we'll get right back together. That sounded bad. I'm going to cut the strips, not this guy up. Okay, so from this roll, I got 18 strips and had this little piece left. So I'm just going to leave this guy here in case I need him for something. But I got 18 10 by 10 squares here. And now we're going to go back to our work wreath. Now, I call this a work wreath, and some people call these pencil wreaths. And I think that's because of these little pieces kind of resemble little pencils sticking up. I'm not 100% sure. But if I call it a work wreath, you'll know what I'm talking about. And if you hear somebody else call it a pencil wreath, you'll know what they're talking about. Now, I will tell you, this stuff is fraying now, buddy. It's flying all over the place now. All right, now we are going to ruffle these guys. This is so easy right here. You're just going to make sure your selvage edge or the finished edges are on the outside, okay? You're going to put your fingers in the middle, and we're just going to wrinkle up. Well, pleat, how about that? Wrinkle, gather, pleat, ever how you want to call it. And you end up with something that looks kind of like a bow tie. See that? And then that goes in here, in between your little teethies. Now I'm going to twist it a couple times because I may decide to come back and add something to it, or I may leave it just like that. We'll just have to see how it goes. I'm going to do the bottom row first. I'm not even going to put anything on the top row just yet. I'm going to go to the bottom row first. Just going to make little bow ties and put them in. Now you can alternate the way they go. It doesn't matter. You can, you know, make sure you've got them going in one direction and another direction. I don't think that's going to make a single bit of difference. And I told you this may be hard to see in the camera, but I'm going to do my best. Twist that up. I love how pretty this is, and I'm surprised how, I hate to say malleable because that's not probably the word I'm looking for, but it's very fluid. I'm surprised it's not stiffer than it is, this paper mesh. I kind of expected it to be really, really, you know, thick like cardstock paper, but it's nothing like that. So I really like it. All right, I'm going to continue around hooking these into every one of those bottom little pencil pieces or the twisty pieces, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have them on every single one of the bottom pieces. I'm spinning it so you can see, because once I did this, this guy grew big. So he is much bigger now. But now I'll work in the middle, you'll be able to really see what I'm doing. We'll just see half a wreath at a time, half of the wreath at a time. So on the top row, I'm going to do 2 pieces in each one, and here's what I did. I pleated one up, and then I put it in there and just barely twisted it. Now I'm going to pleat up another one. I can try to do it right here. I think I can do it, so you guys can see me pleat it up. Yeah. And then I'm just going to open this up and put this on top of that. And I'm doing that because I only got, you know, my 2 hands. And if you have a helper, they could hold it, or you could put a clothespin on it if you wanted to put a little clothespin on one to hold it into place or whatever while you get the other one ready. But for me, that works to make one and stick it in. I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right, so I'm going to take a piece, and I'm doing this in the middle so you guys can see it. So there's that, and I'm just going to open this up and put this in with just one little quick twist just to hold it in place. Not really even a twist, just crossing it over, and that'll hold it while I make another one. So easy to work with. Now I'm going to open that back up, and then in a second I'm going to tell you why. But I'm going to open that back up and add this one on top, and then twist tight this time. Just a couple of twists, because we're going to come back and put some more goodie on there too. Now here's why you open it up and put it back in instead of just twisting it on top. Every time you twist a piece, you build height. And you don't want your wreath to be really, really, really wide. It's going to be anyway, but you don't want it to be so thick it looks funny on your door. So open these back up and push it down in there to keep that nice and close to the actual wreath form itself. And then we'll use these pieces for adding in other goodies. Alright, so I'm going to turn it again, and we're going to go right here and put 2 pieces in that one. So I'm going to start with this first one. I'm just going to put it in there and let it hold it for me, be my fingers. and just kind of grab for a second while I get another one ready. Gathered in the middle. Alright, I'm going to open this back up. If I go the right direction there. Put this one on top of that one, and then twist it into place. And you can move this around. I like this, it's very pliable. That's one thing I do like about it, is I can move it a good bit. I'm not going to spend a lot of time fluffing this right now because I'm going to come back and put some other pretties in it. So we're going to leave it like that for now. But I'm going to go around to every one on the top, and I'm going to add in 2 pieces to all of the tops. Okay, so I have moved down to my floor because I really lost it on our little screen. It just totally went away, which I was afraid would happen, and it did. Now I do have these little pieces that I'll go back and trim off later. We'll kind of clean those up as we go. But I want to show you something. You can stop here with your paper mesh if you want. It's pretty full, but I don't love how thin my bottom layer is, so I went ahead and cut some more pieces to add another piece to my bottom layer too, because I want it to be nice and full. So I'm going to go around, and just like I did here, I'm going to add one more piece to all the bottom layers. So now I've got my wreath all covered, and it's time to start doing the color, and I'm going to use my rotary cutter again. Now, if you have a rotary cutter and a cutting mat, just use that. That would be perfect. But I don't. This is the only rotary cutters I have, but they work really well. So I'm going to lay this guy out just like I did with the paper. I'm not cutting through wire. I know there's a glitter in there, but it's really just a thin glitter kind of foil. So it's really, really thin. Now this is my 6-inch. And if I cut it at 6 inches, I'll get a square. But I don't want a square. I want it to wrap on itself a little bit. So I'm going to cut these strips at 8 inches. So 6 inches wide, 8 inches long, so I can get a good twist. Because this is my plan, is to use some twists that'll have little pointy edges and things. So that's what I'm going to do. And if you want to, if you want a little extra wiggle room, you can cut them at 9. Let me show you that. If you cut them at 9, you get a little thicker, little extra room, not too much. That's pretty good either way. So 8 or 9, whatever you want to do. And then I'm going to cut 10 pieces of the orange, 10 pieces of the yellow, and 10 pieces of the green, and then we'll get right back together. Now I think you can see how much fuller that is with the 2 on the bottom. I just really, really like it. Now it's time to put the pretty colors in. And I have my strips of green, my strips of orange, and also my strips of yellow cut, okay? And here's what I'm going to do. For the green, I'm going to treat them kind of like a leaf, and I'm just going to gather them across the center like this. See that? So they just kind of do like this. Then I'm going to find a twist, just poke it down in there, and I'm not opening them this time. I'm just doing a single twist to hold it in place, because I'll probably come back and add some color here and there. So see how I've just added that little green? I'm going to do that all the way around. So now you can see that I have green on almost every single twist. I actually went back and cut some extra green because I really liked the dimension that it was giving the wreath, the way you could see the top versus the bottom. So if you want to cut extra, feel free. For the orange and the yellow, I'm going to curl it into a circle like this, pinch it in the middle, and I'm going to come back in here where I put a green and open that up and then put that down inside of there. And so they'll be kind of short, but I like that they'll be very condensed color. Whenever you wrap it on itself, it gets brighter because it takes away some of the opacity and takes away some of the transparency and makes it a little more opaque because it's wrapped on itself. So that's what I'm going to do. So there's an orange one. Let's do a yellow one. Just going to roll it. It does not have to be perfect. It can be, you know, off kilter. And then I'm going to turn here and I'm going to open this one up, press this in, and twist it really tight. And I'm just going to alternate them like that. And that's just to give me some extra color, okay? So I'm going to do that all the way around, alternating colors. so now you see it, and I want to show you what I did. I added one color to each place, but I had enough left to go back and do two. So now it kind of looks like a flower. So on the top row, I did two, and almost every one except this one I didn't have enough. I could if I wanted to cut some more, but it's just one piece, and I'm really okay with that. Plus, what I'm going to put on top of it is going to hide all of that. Now at this point, you could leave it like this. You could add little Easter eggs, whatever you wanted to do, but I'm adding this guy. I love this bunny, and I'll tell you how I got this bunny. I recently did a pattern for you guys to make a stuffed bunny. I took the inner pattern and I cut this fabric out, and then I just glued it to some mat board or some chipboard on the back. Put some wire there because I'm going to wire him on, and that is going to be it. I'm just going to wire that little bunny down, and that's going on my front door. I'm excited about it. I'll show you guys pictures when I get it hung up, and I hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope this helped you with your Easter wreaths that you're going to be making. Thanks so much for watching. I'll put a link to this pattern for you too below. It's on my blog. You can get this little pattern there, and I will talk to you guys soon. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.